everybody. Welcome to UGA Sports Live. My name is Radi Nabulsi. I'm joined by Jim Donnan, the former Georgia Bulldogs head coach, and Dayne Young, our executive producer, in charge of getting all your comments onto the screen and keeping up with all the questions that come into the show. If you have questions, today's a good day to get them into the comments section, because if you really want to have them answered, it's not a better time, because we're not reviewing the most recent game or looking ahead to Georgia's game this weekend. We have time to kind of look around the country a little bit and talk about a lot more stuff that we never have time to do so. But I want to start right off the bat.
Like, what do you get your girlfriend for Christmas? What do you get your wife for Christmas? What you get your mom for Christmas? You get Mariah Carey. All I want for Christmas is you.
There you go. Very, very true. One of the greatest songs of all time. I'm with you, Coach. Yeah, and if you have Christmas gift ideas besides that one, put them in the comment section, because I need some help here. My wife gave me a very nebulous list of things that she wanted for Christmas, and so
how do you spell Venmo?
I felt bad because our own Jed May and Catherine Skeen got married over the weekend, and I wanted to get them a beautiful present, and I'm like, I did straight Venmo. It's
right.
Nothing's prettier than cash. Nothing is prettier than cash. So we went with that. So, hey, congratulations to Jed May and Catherine Skeen. We love them both. And they're not taking a honeymoon. They're going right to New Orleans to cover the bowl game. So
pretty
they'll do
good
their honeymoon later on. Yeah. So, hey, they're diehards. They are dedicated. They knew they were getting married during the season, and they're putting off their honeymoon till afterwards. So congrats to the two of them. And congrats to Georgia's Gunnar Stockton. Got 3 first-place votes in the Heisman Trophy voting that went down last week. He wound up finishing 7th in the voting. And, Coach, kind of want to get your talk. Our intern, Harrison Reno, wrote a pretty good story about the fact that Fernando Mendoza, who won the Heisman Trophy, you talked about him last week or the week before, about when he came to Georgia, talking him up. The Bulldogs missed out on a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, but it didn't hurt them. They have Gunnar Stockton, who could be a front runner next season if he's back at Georgia. I don't think anybody would have predicted before the season started that Gunnar would be right there. And when you compare their numbers, they're very similar. Gunnar should be definitely in the top 5, top 3 discussion next year. I just want to get your thoughts on.
I just don't want that jinx. Beck was picked number 1 that one year, but I don't believe in jinxes. But I do believe that when you look at the connotation of what a guy meant to his team, nobody meant more to any team, pro, college, high school, than Gunnar did to the Bulldogs, and just a rallying point for everybody, and kind of typified what the team was all about. I think just self-sacrifice, being a team guy, particularly in this NIL age. So he did a tremendous job, and I thought that Fernando's speech was very heartwarming. His mother has multiple sclerosis, and it's been a very difficult time for him and his brother being away from her. And he's a good story. A lot of people just overlooked him. I mean, he went to all these camps, and he didn't have a lot of high school tape, and Cal took a chance on him, and he went out there and lit it up. And Dayne and I talked about him against Auburn that one year when he just came in there and just threw everything, like 19 out of 20 or something in the first half. And me being the scout that I am, I contacted our people. I said, if for some reason we're looking for somebody, and of course they knew about him too, but he's definitely deserving. And I promise you, our fans should like the guy, because he's a Bulldog type guy. I mean, he's very genuine, and his dad's emergency room doctor, and nice guy. And his brother's a good player. I don't know if he's in the category of Fernando, but and you got to give Signetti a lot of credit. I mean, he kind of wears on about everything, but he's done going there to Indiana and win like they have the last couple of years, just like, what was that guy? Phelps on Mission Impossible. Like they say, look, your job is to go into this horseshit school that has a basketball tradition and try to compete in the Big Ten against Michigan and Ohio State and win win a playoff game or win the Big Ten championship your second year. If you decide to take this job, this thing will destruct in 2 minutes. He did it. I mean, unbelievable.
Well, if you look at the facts of how all this goes down in its relation to Georgia, Fernando Mendoza is transferring, looking for somewhere to play. We know Georgia was high up in the running for that. Simultaneously, Carson Beck gets injured, and then Gunnar Stockton becomes QB1 at Georgia in that very small time period last year when transfer decisions have to be made. So now we know that is a Heisman winning potential first overall pick quarterback that was going to not have playing time, in part because Gunnar Stockton was right there, or at least it wasn't going to be promised. Roddy, if Jared Curtis also ends up being that, as a lot of people project that he will be a first overall pick, Heisman type of guy, and he wants to play next year, seeing what Gunnar Stockton did this year, that being a factor in why he didn't come to Georgia and went to Vanderbilt, all of a sudden Gunnar Stockton on his resume could then have 2 Heisman Trophy winning #1 overall pick type of guys that did not want to be in his wake.
He scared him off. He's going to cost you 2 Heisman trophies. I think when you take it out of his NIL coach and say, "Look, you were fined for being too good." That's all. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, we'll take Gunnar. I mean,
well, you did, Coach. You stood on the table.
I hate it more about Curtis than I do Fernando, because you're looking at 3 or 4 years with Curtis. But hey, like I said before, pour the water through your hands, let it hit the ground, and that's how long you can worry about it. So, but
well, and I'm not saying a worry, Coach. I'm saying what a compliment to Gunnar Stockton for what he is and what he's been for Georgia's offense.
Yeah, sometimes you worry about things you can't control. I mean, there's no way you can say you could be automatic starter, but unless you go to Vanderbilt.
Well, and that's part of it. Mendoza saw that there was going to be a much tougher. He was on a limited time frame. He's like, "Look, I got to play now. What if I come in here and I can't beat that guy out because he has the advantage of 3 years and Mike Bobo's system? You know, he's been there a lot longer. It's a lot harder for me to step in right there. I can step in immediately at Indiana. That team's on the rise. You know, they're playing well. The system will fit me. They'll build it around me," and they did. And so I think Dayne makes a good point. It's not a what did Georgia miss out on? It's, you know, you could go 0 for 2 with those quarterbacks and you still have Gunnar, who, hell, he might win you one next year. So
hope we still have Gunnar. Hope nobody comes in and offers him too much money.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, that's why I said earlier, if, you know, he's a Georgia.
He wouldn't leave here. But, you know, in today's society, but, you know, when Mendoza was getting recruited, Beck hadn't left it yet either, except, you know, we knew he was going to be leaving, but we didn't know. I guess it was about that same time when Beck decided. But the thing that hurt us with Mendoza was the fact that Gunnar did play in a championship game, you know, in SEC, and it looked like he knew what he was doing, you know. So the percentages for him at Indiana were better.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think Coach is smart to even just say, you know, hope Gunnar Stockton's here. I think we all think he will be. But this time last year, Carson Beck was going to be in the NFL draft. The Miami stuff had not happened yet at this time last year.
No, you never know what's coming. And that was going to be my point is real knows real. Quarterbacks know quarterbacks. When they're watching practice and you see the guy, you know, spin it and make the reads, you're like, okay, he's really good. And that's not to say Jared Curtis saw that in Gunnar. He's like, no, I doubt I beat him out as a true senior, you know, or a redshirt senior, and me as a true freshman. I may have the better arm, but if I want to play next year, I got to go to Vandy. And Mendoza needed to play next year, so he went to Indiana. But I'm with you.
In the case of Mike Bobo, though, he had a good point. I mean, he played Stafford his freshman year. We played Quincy. I mean, we lost 4 quarterbacks over Quincy. 4 guys stopped playing at Georgia. And, you know, it's just amazing. That was before NIL or anything, but they all saw the handwriting on the wall as far as his ability. But I think Mike would have certainly given him every opportunity, and Kirby would have too. But still, there's a lot of play going on up there in Nashville and all. And
but sometimes you can't convince the kid. So
just do not talk about this anymore. Starting to make me puke.
Well, what if we talk about the other quarterbacks that are now entering the transfer portal, because it's getting active beginning yesterday? DJ Lagway at Florida enters the portal. We have Dylan Raiola at Nebraska, former Georgia recruit himself, in the portal. And then Coach TJ Finley apparently is trying to go to his 7th team after Georgia State. He's applying for a medical red shirt from the NCAA. Which of these catches your eye, or is it maybe a Brendan Sorsby at Cincinnati? It's QB season, and there's going to be a lot of rotations on that carousel.
Well, Finley is definitely the Dr. Kildare of all guys you've ever seen. As far as he's had every kind of application to NCAA. I mean, if he gets, I know he started out at LSU and then he went to
Auburn,
and then Incarnate Word and Western Kentucky and Georgia State
and Texas State. That's the 6th.
Texas State. So he's been at 6 schools. So,
Jeez.
But anyhow, I think for our fans there, watch the Sorsby kid from Cincinnati. He's the real deal. I could see Miami going after him hard, and they might go after Lagway too. I mean, that's what they do. You know, they got the kid 2 years ago that was drafted number 1. Then they got Beck. I could see him going after Sorsby. To me, he's the guy. Lagway certainly has potential. I mean, people are talking about maybe LSU. I'm sure that Lane will look at Underwood, though, maybe from Michigan if they could get him. You just don't know who's going to be the coach at Michigan, but and that'd be pretty high price. But he's from New Orleans, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't that where he was committed first?
Yeah.
So they came in with a crazy offer the last second. And you made that money, and now LSU has a war chest as well. So I can definitely see it. A lot of people are crapping on Lagway. I mean, he had like 28 touchdowns to 23 interceptions. He's apparently the meeting with Buster Faulkner and the new offense at Florida didn't work for him. So Georgia, unless he goes to one of Georgia's opponents, won't be facing him next year. But Coach, you've always been kind of complimentary toward Lagway's skill set. And
yeah, I mean, I think supporting cast is huge for him, not only offense but defense. You know, where you defense let him down 2 years ago. This year their defense was better, and he did have some unbelievable bad decision making. But that happens when the pressure's on. You're trying to win, but I thought he kept the team together, showed a lot of leadership, and he's got a big time arm and good enough legs to hurt you. There'll be a lot of people that want him. You just need to be in the right system and get the right coach. For instance, the kid at North Texas, he's kind of wired into his coach. He'll probably be going to Oklahoma State with him, but it's just an unbelievable scenario. Can you imagine Bear Bryant and Coach Jordan talking about, yeah, I'm going to get me a boy from over there at Texas State that nobody knew about. I'm going to bring him in here. He's going to run the ball for me. And then Suge said, well, I got some defensive linemen. I mean, seriously, man, it's different.
Where was Trinidad Chambliss from again?
Detroit, up there, and he's in Michigan someplace.
Ferris State was the college.
Yeah, I just going along with your analogy, Vince Dooley going, I got a quarterback coming in from Ferris State.
All right, Coach Dylan Raiola leaves Nebraska, the prized recruit of the Rule era. His uncle was let go as the offensive line coach up that way. So what does this mean for Nebraska and Matt Rule? Because you've made some comments on this show about seems like he invented football, that kind of thing. And I know it breaks your heart for Nebraska to have some struggles. But then also, what does it mean for Raiola, who moved around a ton in high school, but this is his first transfer in college?
Yeah, I do respect Coach Rule. I think he's a solid coach that, has really best interest of the players. He does a good job there and he treats them right. But, sometimes he talks a lot more about things that he hasn't done, so that's the only thing that bothers me a little bit. But that's okay. I mean, he's trying to promote his program. But it's just incredible to me that Nebraska, since Frank Solich left after he replaced Coach Osborne, it's just had just unbelievable last 20 years of just really mediocre football. I mean, hardly some years not even going to a bowl, getting beat 77-0 one time by Texas Tech. I mean, really, and I don't know if they'll ever recover. Really, I mean, it's just there's not a real good state for football as far as just the number of players in the state and all that. But and I don't know what's going to happen with Raul. He's certainly got a good arm and he's got a good supporting cast with his mom and dad. But it's definitely a lot of there's a lot of things involved in working with him. So I could see him. You know, anybody went to 4 different high schools. I mean, you know, isn't that what he did? Go to 4 different ones?
Yeah, across the country too.
So, but this is how much I'm worried about that too. I'm gonna pour the water through my hands and let it hit the ground. But I'm sure fans like for us to talk about something besides. But really, watch Source from Cincinnati, and also take Navy in that game. If he's not going to play, I don't know what the line is, but take Navy.
Hey, when coach gives you a winner, you know, hit up Bet MGM and get on it, get cracking. I like it. We had a comment, old Texas Tech band 9114. He says there's a good chance Brendan Sosby's coming to Texas Tech because his girlfriend committed to the Texas Tech volleyball team.
Well, that'd be good for Texas Tech, and of course they got the money to get him. They got that billionaire down there just really wants, you know, bought that defensive line for him, and they did the same thing on softball. You know, brought that pitcher in from Stanford and got him to the finals. And I never will forget that. I mean, you're walking somebody intentionally to get into the world. You plan for the World Series of college softball, and instead of throwing the ball outside and on the 4th pitch, you throw it down the middle, and the girl hits a double. And they hadn't even sniffed a hit against her, and they ended up Texas ended up beating Texas Tech that game and another one. But I was pulling hard against Texas as I usually do. But that is I had to bring that up. How can you do that?
Well, I do want to.
Coach is going to coach no matter what the sport.
The ripple effects for Florida with Lagway leaving, coach, because you do have a new offensive coordinator in Buster Faulkner. Georgia knows him well from playing against him at Georgia Tech, him being an analyst on Georgia's staff during the national championship run. Based on what you've seen from Faulkner's offenses at Tech and maybe some of the things that he did at Georgia, what are you expecting Florida to do now with its quarterback situation moving forward?
Well, first of all, I got tremendous respect for Buster, not only the job he did here, but the job he did at Tech, but also growing up there, coaching at Middle Tennessee and at Arkansas State and then Southern Miss. I mean, he's had a brilliant career. But I can promise you, there's no way you can run the quarterback in the SEC like he did that guy from Georgia Tech. That guy will get assaulted. I mean, you're going to play 9 games against these SEC defenses with a guy trying to run all the time like King did. Not going to happen. And Buster's smart enough to know that. But all these quarterbacks are going to be looking at him, hey, coach, I like your offense, but, you know, who's going to block those guys that I got to play against, you know? So, I mean, you got to look at that. I mean, realistically, I just don't know if that's a fit in this league. I know it's not a fit in this league to run your quarterback. That's one thing Kirby's always said. You know, we've had running quarterbacks, but how much can you take a chance on getting a guy hit? Which we did against Alabama because we were playing for the championship, you know, just the end of the year. So you got some time if something happens. But, you know, you can't put a guy through the grinder like King went through in the ACC and the SEC. What do y'all think?
I go back to when they were, again, Kirby Smart is recruiting Justin Fields. They're playing Tennessee. Remember, you have Jake Fromm, who took over for an injured Jacob Eason. Jacob Eason is finally kind of cleared to play that week. Justin Fields is in the stands. It's a home game. And they let Fromm carry the ball like 3 times. I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns in that game. And then it was, look, you know, we do use a running quarterback, but also he wasn't going to chance letting Jake Fromm run it at all without a healthy Jacob Eason as a backup. And to that point, they did not let him do anything. We know how good he was with his legs, but they're like, nope, not taking a chance, not taking a chance, not taking a chance. We got to back up, run the hell out of it. So I'm with you, Coach. He's he knows how his defenses tee off. I mean, go back to a couple years ago.
My question:
the Lagway game, you knocked him out of the game, and you played their third string quarterback. I mean,
but answer my question: do you think that Buster can run that offense in the SEC?
Hell no.
Maybe a version of it where you do a little more of that at the red zone, but you have to be more of a traditional drop back, run the team, run the ball. They'll have to do more running back play. And Florida has, I mean, if they can keep Jaden Ball, maybe the best running back in the country.
They're going out of there like they got bus tickets going out of there right now. If
they do
keep up with it. They lost some really good defensive players already, and I think it's nice of the administration to let that Sumrall guy get the team ready at Tulane and all, but it's nothing better than be there in person and talk to them. So, but we always respect Florida. I mean, look at what they've always played against us, and I think this guy will do a good job. He's hiring some good coaches, and that's one of the things that hurt, which we've said time after time on this program. I just didn't think Napier had a staff that was equal to SEC caliber. Just so many guys that were learning what to do, or you got to remember. And I used to tell our coaches this: you're competing against the elite guys in the league, recruiting, coaching on the field, dealing with high school students, everything. So you better work your craft and be an all-star.
I just looked on Bet MGM, Coach. Vegas knows what you know, because Navy's a 6.5-point favorite against Cincinnati.
Well, forget about it. I thought maybe we might be getting Navy in the points.
Speaking of assistant coaches and the staff, I think it would behoove us to point out that there are 5 finalists for the Broyles Award. There's only one of them who's an offensive coordinator, and his name is Mike Bobo. So congrats to Mike Bobo for being named. Who does the voting on that, Coach?
Well, they have 3 different votes. The first one is everybody picks schools can nominate people, and people get nominated. They get it down to 15 on the first vote, then they get it down to 5 on the second, and now it's down to the 5. And they have a board of coaches, ex-coaches, and people like that. But this year they're letting the fans vote too. So maybe we can get some people on our site to vote for Mike, although I don't know how many of them based on.
They might take it.
Hey, you pay him back a little bit for all the grief you give him. Vote for him.
I've given him some grief. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, Mike? But
right. Stacy Searles should be up there too. Boy, he did. You think about all the guys who are hurt this year, just unbelievable.
I was going to point this out in a tweet. I was thinking about how to craft it right before we came on the show. Stacy Searles has lost every one of his starting offensive linemen at one point this season.
Pretty hard.
Just
Micah Morris had something wrong with him in preseason that people didn't think much about it, but he still was. He had a club, I think, the first game, and then he got hurt hamstring one game. But yeah, every one of them is tough.
They lost, and again, not for the whole season, but just at different points. So that's I'll give him credit. We'll get to interview all the coaches in New Orleans. We'll have a lot of coverage coming from that, and we get about 45 minutes where we get to talk to all the players and all the coaches. So be ready to tune in for that on the 29th. We will have a bunch of stuff from that.
Yeah. Before I forget it, because I forget it sometime, but I got 2 jokes here, just in case somebody's going to get off the air. I don't want to miss these 2 primo jokes. So this guy was talking to his buddy who knew everything, and he says, "Do you know what IDK means?" And the guy says, "I don't know." He said, "Nobody knows it. I don't understand it." And then the other one was his teachers called in this little boy, John. He said, "Johnny, I've been teaching the 4th grade for 20 years, and I've never had a kid that is sarcastic as you are. It's unbelievable how you got sarcasm about everything. What would happen if I phoned what would your parents say if I phoned them?" He said, "Hello."
That's a good one.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Y'all got to bear with me. I don't get a chance to get in public much, so I got to.
Oh, please.
Those are pretty good jokes.
You should have seen him holding court at breakfast this morning, Roddy. I mean, he better off than when he's letting on. We're doing good,
dude. We drove to you gave a speech at a kickoff event in Alabama. Where was it, Birmingham, or where did we go in Alabama, Coach?
I don't know Alabama, but
UAB was one of the teams there. But you went and gave a keynote speech there. So basically, it's 4 hours driving, and Coach told jokes for 3 hours and 59 minutes. I ran off the road 10 times. The band's got them all. All right. We need to hit a quick commercial break, and then we got a lot of questions we'll get to on the backside. Let's start with our friends over at Athens Ford. Again, I keep pressing folks to go ahead and get in there as quickly as possible because they have all their end of the year deals on the Ford F-150s, Broncos, Explorers, all the great stuff. They have a lot of used vehicles. Their used inventory is pretty high right now. But if you want to get a new vehicle, the new specials, because it's the end of year deals, you just can't beat it. $9,000 off a Ford Bronco, $8,000 off a 2025 Ford Explorer, $8,000 off the Bronco Sport Big Bend Black Diamond, $14,000 off an F-150. I mean, now you got to go to the website, check out all the details, and you get to click on all those, see the ones actually on the lot and look at it. And you're like, okay, what space gray, what color is that? Click on it and you'll actually see it. There'll be 30, 40, 50 pictures of that vehicle inside and out. And especially if you're wondering, does that one have seat warmers, or does that one have a electric seat boost, or does a steering wheel tilt far enough? You can see all that in the photos. So check out our friends at Athens Ford. Now is a fantastic time to buy a vehicle before the new year gets here. Hey, want to get one for somebody for Christmas? We're talking about Mariah Carey's song. Play it in a new Ford Escape. That'll make folks happy. And it is the December 16th. You better hurry on this one too if you want to get pies from Darden's Delights. I know they're probably slammed. I hope you folks made them super busy. The best thing you can do to support our show is to support our advertisers. Buy a pie from Darden's Delights. They have the Get in My Belly gooey pie. If you were from the South, you know a gooey pie. They're phenomenal. You can get their extra dangerous fudge pie with or without pecans. You can get their luscious butterscotch pie with or without pecans. The Smack Your Lips lemon chess pie. If you know a lemon chess pie, you know that is a fantastic pie to have for Christmas. So, and if you've got corporate gifts, you're like, okay, what am I going to get for my coworkers? What am I going to get for the staff? What am I going to get for my boss? Send them a pie from Darden's Delights. 2 former Georgia graduates are running it. Their other daughter as a freshman at UGA, and then their delightful daughter, Darden. She is a special needs kid, and a lot of the proceeds from these pies go to folks with developmental disabilities, the charities to help them. So you're not only getting a fantastic pie and supporting Georgia grads, you are supporting folks like my nephew who has developmental disabilities. So check out dardensdelights.com.
And if you get to December 23rd and realize that you have made some mistakes in what you've prioritized for your people, that electronic gift card would be a decent idea, because then that means, Roddy, in January, somebody can pick out their own pie. True. What a gift that is.
Well, not only that, you can get them you can go by their store. You can actually go pick them up. They don't have to do the shipping. And if you go by Stripling's in Athens, they have them in the freezer.
All right, before we get to questions from UGASports.com, Friday, Coach, I know your family out in Norman, Oklahoma will have a lot to celebrate this week, even just personally with a graduation. But with Alabama going to Norman for a first-round playoff game, we have to have the coach's take on Sooners versus Tide, part 2.
Yeah, I got plenty riding on that game, and certainly my family will be there, everybody but me. I like the fact that OU's playing at home, but of all things, my granddaughter Julia called me today, and basically she just calls to check on me usually, but this is a 21-year-old girl, and she wanted to get my take on the game. I guess she was going to talk to some of her friends and give them some rundown. She said, it's hard to beat somebody 3 times in a row. And I said, well, they've only played them once this year, and they played them last year. I said, but wouldn't you rather be on the side that's beaten them twice? And she said, that's right. But the weather forecast is good. And a couple things that I think are just really big in this game. I don't think OU can count on getting the turnovers against Alabama. For the most part, they've got to rectify their running game and get something out of it and take care of the ball. And then OU certainly gets a good pass rush, no question about it. But they gave up almost 400 yards to Alabama and did really good in the red zone and kept them out of the end zone. But they got to do better on the pass against Alabama than they did the first time. And then OU's offense, less than 200 yards. You're not going to win many games like that. But when you get 3 turnovers, you can. So OU's got to use the home crowd. Hope the quarterback has used this 3 or 4 weeks to get better since he had that injury earlier in the year. And but I think right now, if you can get a good start against Alabama, they're going to be questioning themselves because they've been on the downward trend. But all of a sudden, they get that momentum going and get a little confidence. And particularly Ty Simpson, I think that could be tough for OU. But I'm going to go with Boomer Sooner, not because of my heart, but just because I just think something's missing on that Bama team right now. I just don't see that cohesiveness, that belief in winning that you've always saw no matter what that Bama had. And OU's kind of a team of destiny this year. They've won a lot of games that really went down to the wire. So hopefully OU's offense will play a little better. And they got the great kicker, and we'll see what happens. I also wanted to mention, shout out to our kickers, Brett Thorson, and then the snapper, and then also Peyton Woodring had a great year, but I mean, they got Oklahoma had an unbelievable year too. So, boy, money in the bank, those guys. Really, I don't think anybody could ever have any better kicking game than we had. And shout out to Coach Benedict doing a great job there and with his staff, with Javier and the other guys. Just really good job by our kicking game.
I mean, you mentioned it when we were in August. We're like, hey, how's Gunner going to do this year? What about these wide receiver transfers, offensive line questions? We had so many questions, and you would end your 30,000 foot view of the team and we have the 2 best kickers in America. Okay, and not that anybody doubted you. It's just it means something. Well. Bo winds up winning the long snapper of the year, and Georgia gets only its 2nd Ray Guy Award winner in Brett Thorson, who for some reason was named 2nd team All SEC instead of first team.
I don't think he had enough.
2nd team All American.
He probably didn't have enough kicks for the league. You never know about that. These guys start looking at averages and how many kicks and all that. They don't. But I can say this. All my years of coaching, I've never seen a guy mean more to a team as a punter than this guy. I mean, just invaluable. Go back to Tennessee game when he kicked that 77-yarder. I mean, just the other night when he had that clutch kick when it was 21-7. The guy's clutch, and he's got a great pro career ahead of him. He's going to be rated the #1 punter coming out.
All right. So Georgia's won 2 Ray Guy Awards, Drew Butler, and so now you got that one. And Bo Gardner is a long snapper of the year. So, and Peyton Woodring, he's only missed 1. So that's
when you look at
17 18.
That was pretty slick the way we picked up Bo Gardner out of UCLA. I mean, how many times you get a transfer like that? I mean, this
2-time All SEC guy. Gotta love it.
So. All right, Coach, rest of the CFP. Do you think James Madison has anything for Oregon?
Do I think they have anything for him?
I mean, I know you're not calling the upset.
No,
are you saying it's going to be close?
No, I was going to say James Madison's wife, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really. I think it's going to be ugly, really. James Madison, I watched him last week to try to get an idea of the way they played Troy. And, they didn't really – they got a good quarterback. I mean, he'll get pounced on. The only thing that worries me a little bit is maybe online you've seen it. I don't read about Oregon, but losing both coordinators. One got the Tosh Lapoy got the Cal job, and Willie Stein got the Kentucky job. So, are both those guys coaching in the game, calling the defense and offense?
I think they are, but I do not have that confirmed.
Well, Lanning did that. So when he, but that, that's a tough call. But I thought that was slick by Tosh when he got the Cal job. As soon as the press conference over, he got on a plane and flew to Hawaii and saw that freshman quarterback and solidified him and told him to stay at Cal. And that was pretty smart.
Other games, Tulane and Ole Miss Part 2. I'm guessing you're thinking Ole Miss will be set for a rematch with Georgia.
More than likely, although there's a lot of cards against them here. I mean, you look at all the things that, I mean, they could go one of two ways. They could just rally around the new coach and everything's good, or all of a sudden, if some of these guys are thinking about leaving and not celebrating and working hard on this year, then and things aren't going great, then you could see Tulane's got some firepower. That quarterback from transfer from BYU, and their defense is kind of shaky, though. I mean, North Texas had 3 turnovers in the end zone. I mean, they were going in to score, and they didn't have picks in the end zone. They could have lost that game, but it's one of those games where Ole Miss should win. It's nothing against the coach there, but if Kiffin's coaching there and they don't have all this drama, it would be a no-brainer. But just a little intrigue and added to it.
And then Miami and Texas A&M.
Yeah, that game right there can go south pretty quick for Miami, playing against a team that's really rushes the passer pretty well, kind of like they do. I think it all boils down to Beck and the quarterback for the situation there at Texas A&M.
Marcel
And
Reed.
is A&M's coach going to Kansas State, or is he going to coach in the game? Coach Klein, the play caller. So the one thing you can count on, though, Mario Cristobal, if they get ahead, he'll get tight now. I mean, he'll go into the fetal position. So we've seen them lose some games. So I don't know. The crowd and everything, I'm kind of leaning toward A&M in this game just because of the Miami's history of big games, So how do y'all think about it?
I figure that, well, I don't know which Carson's going to show up, because there's times in a big game where he is lights out, and other times against Texas and Florida and others, he throws 3 interceptions, and he's got one of those games in him. I think he already had it this year, so he might actually absolutely light it up against Texas. Texas A&M, but I think that's the reason I was kind of not off on him last year, but it just felt like in some of the biggest games he got tight, and he brought you back against Georgia Tech, and he played well even with everybody dropping passes all over the place. So
he didn't have a lot of help, but
that exactly. So I'm like, I just don't know which
Carson stat that somebody put out that Arian Smith had as many yards on about 20 less catches than Zachariah Branch this year, and same amount of touchdowns.
I hadn't seen that.
No, I didn't see that.
See if you can pick it up there. It's pretty interesting because anybody would say who's had the most effect on Georgia football be Zachariah Branch, but Adrian, dropped some. He had 7 drops, so that hurt us. But he made a lot of big plays too.
He did, and that was the thing you saw in that Georgia Tech game where Carson was just frustrated. I mean, Tate Ratledge had to talk him off the ledge because he's like, I'm hitting these guys in the hands and they're dropping the damn thing. So, but he calmed down and played well. Then against when you're facing Florida's terrible walk-on quarterback from Yale, and it's like you're throwing the ball to the other team, and you're throwing 3 interceptions against Alabama and Texas. Like, you've got the all-world arm, you make good decisions, but sometimes you throw it to the wrong damn team. So, again, if Beck plays within himself, I don't think even Mario can screw it up.
All right. Time for questions from UGASports.com. From Till Dog. Coach, do you expect Drew Bobo, Freeling, and Ernest Green all to be back for Georgia next season?
Yeah, I would think Drew for sure, just because of the nature of his injury, and too much to recover before the combine and all that. So, but I think the other two probably going to look at what the grades are. Kirby will bring by that the NFL projected grades and see where they are and how they stand against other guys around the country. But they're both pro worthy, but it's just a question of how high you could go. And the money part probably could enter the picture because we could certainly pay them similar to what they make if they're drafted later. So both of them team guys, I would say I would lean toward all three being back myself.
From Bayou Dog 7503, Coach, do you think Georgia's playbook was limited in the SEC championship game against Bama to help Malachi Tolliver in making his play calls? If so, does that playbook get more full for the Sugar Bowl and beyond? Always thankful for your perspective around this team. Merry Christmas to you.
It's okay by me if it's okay by you. So, but I appreciate that Bayou guy doing it. Realistically, I thought that our team coached around Coach Smart and Coach Bobo around the fact that Alabama was having trouble. So we condensed it. We played like a team with a good defense and a good kicking game and played field position football. So that looked a little bit more condensed as far as being wide open. But he's very capable. He knows the system, and I think it'll all depend on who we're playing. For instance, if it's against Tulane, then we'd probably be more like the SEC championship game. But against Ole Miss, you're going to have to open it up because even if our defense plays good, they're going to make scores and all. So we didn't even punt against Ole Miss the first time, did we?
No.
So
scored on every possession except the kneel down at the end.
I think he's really very and that's a good question based on facts, though. He's been around the meetings and he knows the calls and he's got some good practice time between now and that game, so we'll be probably in the middle of that.
From Classic City Dog 09 says, Coach, I could listen to you talk ball all day, so thanks for doing this. If a recruit asks you, what does it mean to be a Georgia Bulldog and why is wearing that G so special? What is your response?
Well, that's nice of him to say. One of the things I used to tell a guy that was kind of up in the air that's from the state of Georgia, I say, hey, after I leave today, I want you to just walk down the hall and not just look at your friends or talk to anybody, but just walk down the hall and see how many people are wearing a Georgia hat or a Georgia shirt or just ask 2 or 3 people, talk to them about recruiting. And the first thing they want to know, do you have a scholarship to Georgia? And it's just the fact that you got to use the in-state like that. And then also talk to them about, we didn't used to have the NIL, but we had a little bit of something. But anyhow, you could, I tongue cheek. I hear
that ice cracking, Coach.
Does your mother need an IRA? The mother IRAs, you give me, really appreciate it. So anyhow, the point being, you talk to them about all the people in Georgia that are successful and the graduates and the potential for a job afterwards and summer jobs and all that. And but the last thing I would say to them, if they were looking at some schools that were a little bit further away, I said, who's the most important person for you to see after you play a game? And 100% would be my mom and dad. And I said, do you realistically think that they can get to all these games to see you play and be there with you when you need to be, or you need to go home or whatever it might be? Your favor here. Why leave just because you're saying this one thing? And then if they're talking to them about playing time, like Jared Curtis, I would just say, that's an insult to you. That you think that you can go start for them, but we're recruiting you and you can't start for us. Why would we bring you here if we didn't think you were capable of that? Because if we bring you here, we're going to probably lose a couple quarterbacks that know that you're better than them. But why would we take that risk if we didn't think you could? So I was ready. I was primed and cocked. I'm glad I haven't made that speech in a long time. But the bottom line is, tell your mama that you're going to go somewhere else, and I promise you, she'll start crying.
There you go.
That speech is like in the recesses of his brain, just always ready to come out, Roddy. You saw how
Yeah,
quickly.
absolutely. Hey, dude, when you give it with that amount of vehemence for 45 years, it's ready to go. So I'm with you. I remember Garrison Smith going to Douglas High School, and we leaked his commitment. I always feel so guilty about it because we had a story ready in admin, and the rivals reset their admin, and everything that was scheduled, without a date, published. And it was on like a Sunday night, 4:00 in the afternoon, or Saturday night. We couldn't get it off the front page, and it drove us nuts. Anyway, I remember asking him, what is it about Georgia? He goes, I'm a Georgia boy, and I got to live in Georgia for 60 years after I go to school. And they started telling me all the guys at Delta, at Coca-Cola, at UPS, everywhere, who graduated from Georgia, who were big Georgia fans. And they basically just brought in all these titans of industry and let him talk to him. And he's like,
Yeah, that was
okay,
good.
okay, this is, yeah. I need a job when I'm done. So,
I'll give you real quick here. I'll just give you a close here like I'm recruiting Dayne. It's down to the wire. I'm saying, Dayne, I just want to tell you this one point here, and we could figure all this stuff out. But one of the hardest things about making a decision is telling everybody else no. All these guys have been nice to you, your parents, and it's going to be hard for you to say, look, I'm going to go to Georgia, and because they're going to try to talk you out of it. So you can't put that off there. If you really want to come here, you can get some people, your coach, your mom, your dad, they can help you on that. So I'm just going to ask you this. My wife wouldn't have married me if I hadn't asked her, do you want to come to Georgia?
Heck yeah, coach. Let's go. Let's go.
That's my close, sir.
it's a great closer, because that is, a lot of people are like, I don't want to. Dabo's been recruiting me since 8th grade. I don't want to tell him no. I don't want to tell Lane Kiffin no. I mean, yeah. So it's the fear of that. But,
Right.
yeah.
No doubt.
And I always respect, because we'll ask a kid, hey, when you told the Georgia coaches how they react, and they talk about the coaches jumping up and down and screaming and having a great time. And if you follow that up with what happened to the coaches you told, that you weren't coming? And if a kid says, well, I didn't tell them, I'm sure they'd see it on Twitter. I'm like,
it's not good.
Yeah.
I
don't judge, but I judge. So
the other thing is, for people getting recruiting, have sons getting recruited now or daughters and all. Every coach is well versed in the selling process. I mean, they coach these guys up. They tell them about points of interest. They look into all the. So it's hard to say no to them because they're so good at it, But at the same time, is that the way it's going to be when you get there? Are they going to treat you like they tell you they are? So the best people you can talk to are the players that are there. They'll tell you here, hey, he works you hard, but what he tells you, he's going to stand by. They help you every way to develop, as compared to, hey, you better watch this guy. He'll tell you one thing and do something else. So I always try to get the players that I was recruiting to talk to my players, because they're your best salesmen.
This from Blocker 57 says, Coach, Dayne and Roddy, y'all are the best. Thanks for having a great show every week. Coaches around the country have talked about how the portal has thinned depth on the lines, with 2s and 3s leaving for playing time. How do you feel about Georgia's depth on the line beyond the 1s as we go into portal season? And then what specifically beyond NIL do you do to keep those guys long-term? Because I'm wondering, are those solely player-to-coach discussions, or is it normal for position coaches to get back in the recruiting process and talk with players, parents, and families during that time?
It's a long question, but I don't feel good about our depth. I do for this game, but I feel like I did last year at this time. We're going to lose some people. If you're the parents of somebody that's a second or third team player and you want your kid to play somewhere else because he can play, I mean, you got to help him out. So we understand that. Kirby understands it, but I don't like it. That's the system we're in. But we're gonna see this revolving door every year. It's better than it used to be because it's only one-time chance to transfer unless you're a graduate student at the end of the year. But our depth is always going to be. We're going to be young. every year from now on until they change the rules. And you can't build any depth because if you get them good enough that they can play, but they got a guy that's all conference in front of them or starter, they're going to go somewhere else. And more power to them. I mean, all you got to do is look around the league. All the teams that have got transfers playing for them and all the guys that are playing around the country that played at Georgia. So it's definitely a good question, but depth right now is going to be an issue for every team in America from now on.
Well, and the second part of this, in the portal discussions, is it traditional recruiting where you get to know everyone in the family, or is this more of a coach and a player situation at this point since they've been in the program?
Yeah, you got to lean on the family a little bit if the kid's up in the air and then the family sold on you in particular. But you got to have that kind of relationship that the family trusts you. Like in Kirby's case, if a guy's trying to decide, first of all, if he's going to go pro or not, Kirby's showing them the grades. He's talking about what the general managers say, and Kirby's going to level with them, say, look, and he also do those combine tests here in the spring so they can compare to what the pros that are drafted have. So here's where you stand on the evaluations you're talking about. So that would be one thing, trying to keep kids here or leave them in the draft. And then the second, as he mentioned, in the portal, surely you talk to the family too, because occasionally the family will call you up when things aren't going good or something's not going, or when it's going good. So you got that relationship with the family. You would definitely utilize that. That's a good point by him.
Blocker 57 is a fantastic meteorologist, and he has been a huge member of our site for years because people will come on there and say, hey, Blocker, what's the weather like? And even when he's not in this market, he gives us a fantastic breakdown and has been spot on. Even set up we had a bunch of folks from UGA Meteorological Services doing videos for us before the game. So shout out to him. I do think when you look at the list of backup offensive linemen, Michael Weenie, Bo Hewley, Jamal Merriweather, Daniel Calhoun, guys who got a taste of it. A lot of those are redshirt freshmen. This is year 2 for them. Some of them are redshirt sophomores. This is year 3. And if you do get back all those offensive linemen who are starters, you're like, this could be my 4th year without seeing the field. I'll be a redshirt junior.
Yeah, I mean, that's some of those guys are history. That's why we're bringing in junior college. Don't we have a JUCO offensive lineman coming in?
No, they got a different kid, if I'm not mistaken. They got a commitment at the end there from I can't think of the guy's name. He just committed. They got him on signing day. So
I just think we got to be ready in January to do some updates on what's going on, because I don't want everybody to panic. We're going to lose. We're going to lose some guys, and we're
you lose probably about 20, but you're going to add a bunch too. So
we're going to bring in some stallions. I'm talking about make my mouth water Niagara Falls guys.
All right, we'll wrap with 3 quick questions from Red and Black in the Day. Coach, can you describe what a freshman player has to learn at Georgia before they see the field? What's the process, let's say, for a linebacker to be ready as a freshman to play at Georgia?
Well, I think we certainly have an intricate system. It's well proven that it works. You can't expect a freshman to make the calls, the checks right away. It just takes a little bit of, a long time to get that. But I would just say the first thing you got to do is have knowledge of assignment. By that, you need to know what you're going to do based on the defense call and what you expect to do to implement that. And the second is proper technique, because all of a sudden, instead of you being the big fish in a little pond, you're now in a big pond here, and all these guys are comparable athletes. So if everything's equal, the guy with the best technique is usually going to come out. So you need to develop that, and Schumann's a master at that. He's a great technician. He gets a really good players playing at a high level intelligently, but also works hard on their fundamentals. So I would say that, and then be ready to get in there and go on special teams, volunteer to get out there and work hard on that to show you can, have the wherewithal and the ability to function in a game, maybe not in a linebacker, but a special team situation.
All right, and we'll get to the other 2 questions from Red and Black in the Day after Atlanta Dental Implants.
Yeah, we're showing on the screen there the single tooth replacement, but they can do an entire mouth restoration. They can give you a brand new smile in as little as 1 day, thanks to their in-house lab and experienced team. They have very flexible payment plans and package pricing. Package pricing, I can't say that. They make life-changing dentistry accessible. So if you're like, I can't afford that, it's too much. Well, you don't have to pay it out. You don't have to write them a check right there in the spot. It's like, hey, let's do a pricing plan. Let's finance this out. And you go ahead and get your new smile now and your functioning teeth. It's not a vanity thing. It's a health thing. You have bad feet or bad teeth, your life is going to be much shorter. So get your teeth fixed, get your feet fixed too, but they only handle the teeth fixing part. Dr. Skylar Holcomb and his team are known across Georgia for years of their experience in exclusively in dental implants. They're not doing 750 different things. They do one thing. They do it very well. They move on to the next patient. So the satisfaction, if you read the reviews, it's off the charts. The reviews are 5-star. If they could go higher than 5 stars, they would have that. And they're right there in Atlanta. So it's right there in the name, Atlanta Dental Implants. Check them out. Let them know that you heard about it on UGASports.com. And when you see Dr. Skylar Holcomb, you'll meet him on the first visit. You don't have to come like 14 times before you actually meet up with the doctor. Tell him go dogs. He'll give it right back to you because he's a huge Georgia fan.
Great. You know, that guy with the NCAA teeth needs to go there. He's down to the Final Four. I'm
going to steal that from my next column. Damn sure I'm right now one day. School me 1 minute.
What's the future of the Atlantic Coast Conference? Can it survive the power shift in college football?
You know, right now, this last year didn't help them at all. I mean, you see how nobody really took the bull by the horns, and everybody had a chance to really make a move, didn't do it. You know, you got 17 or 18 teams playing all around the country, and you got some really good teams. But when you look at the Big Ten and the SEC, and now with Texas Tech, Brigham Young coming on strong out there, I just think it'll be hard for the ACC, except for basketball, to really do a lot myself.
Oh, SEC stronger there too these days.
Yeah, we're doing good there. But basketball, both men and women. But also heard this. Is that the last one?
Last one is accepting that Herschel Walker is the GOAT, who, in your opinion, is the second best college football player of all time. And I think you have to exclude NC State quarterbacks from this discussion.
I tell you, I don't know who it would be. I guess my favorite as far as helping his team and doing all he could was Roger Staubach. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a guy play any better than he did that year at Navy. But there's a lot of them out there. You can't go wrong with some things. But you got to give Stetson Bennett a lot of credit too for what he did for Georgia. But I mean,
the names off. Archie Griffin won 2 Heismans, so you have to have him up there. I mean, the ones that I've seen that have made the most impact, Cam Newton's one season was incredible for Auburn, and Ndamukong Suh was as dominant of a defensive lineman as I've seen. And then at Georgia, you got to give props to Champ Bailey. He played both ways.
Looks like you did a little prep on that question, man. Is that your memory?
That's my memory.
That's pretty dang good.
But I mean, I can make the argument that Deshaun Watson played well enough to earn 2 Heismans, but
yeah,
you know.
You talking about on or off the field? No.
Oh,
easy now, Coach. Easy. It's a family show.
It kind of rubs me the wrong way.
God damn it. That's 2. We're going to get demonetized.
Well, listen, I just want to tell you this story here about the new coach at Arkansas. He goes over there, and he got this senior kid that comes in there and said, look, I'm getting ready to graduate. I'm in law enforcement. And, Coach, all the coaches that were here before are not here, but could you call up the sheriff and see if I could get an interview? He said, sure. So he called him up and said, hey, this is Coach Silverfield. I'd like to get Johnny an interview to be a sheriff. You know, I'm the new coach and trying to help our players, even though I'm not going to coach him. And he said, sure, send him down there tomorrow. So this kid is recently married, and he gets all dressed up. He goes in there for the interview, but he's a little nervous. You know, I mean, typical Arkansas kid. And he says, the sheriff said, hey, you know, we got some openings here for deputies, but we got to give you this intelligence test. Said, do you know what? Give me 2 days of the week that begin with T. He said, today and tomorrow. He said, "Oh, that's pretty good. We'll take that. That's good." He said, "You know how much 1 and 1 is?" He said, 1 and 1, 11. Well, I guess you could say that's right. He said, "I need to ask you a kind of a test to see what you know about, how you could handle being a deputy." He said, "Do you know who shot Abraham Lincoln?" He said, "No, I don't. I don't." But he said, "I tell you what, son, you go home and think about it and research it and get back here tomorrow and we'll see what we can do." So he goes home and tells his wife. She said, "How'd that interview go?" He said, "It went great. They already got me working on a murder case."
You told me that one, but I forgot it.
What about it, Dane?
You on a roll today, dude.
No, I mean, seriously, I'm
Good stuff.
I think that's a good joke on Arkansas. And
That is.
yeah.
Beyond Creative liked it too, so we appreciate it.
Who did?
Beyond Creative, we got folks in the comments section.
Good.
Laughing,
I like it when they do that. And I can't see those comments, but
that's okay. Jermaine did too. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for this week's show. Tune in next Tuesday. Let's see, 23rd. It'll be Christmas Eve. Check back with us then.
we're gonna have a Christmas show.
Well, it'll be the day before Christmas Eve.
All right.
So join us in, and we will see you later. Y'all take care.